All right, here we are. Coffee with CRE closers and Aviva Sonenreich. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. I'd love to have you back. I see that you have you now framed in the background. Your Forbes article is framed in the background of you.
No.
I have it here in print copy. I'm still the guy that reads print copy. So super pumped to have you on here. How's everything going?
Very, very good.
Very good.
Pitted in deals.
Say
right
hello to our friends on TikTok Live.
Hey, TikTok.
For those of you who had joined us last time, remember, we are going to go through an amazing interview with Aviva. We've got a lot of blockchain, a lot of NFT and commercial real estate application to talk about today. At the end of the show, we will have the one thing. So the one thing, this like mind-blowing insight into everything commercial real estate, NFT, blockchain, and Aviva lifestyle. We'll get to that at the end. If you have not already gone to CREProCourse.com, signed up for the course, it's all about commercial real estate. If you want to know more, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Aviva, check out the website, and absolutely follow us on TikTok, LinkedIn, all of the streams, all of the channels, and reach out if you have any questions. Happy to answer those. Aviva,
yes,
I asked you last time to tell me about you, and I think many of our viewers love you, and they wanted to see you come back, so you were back by popular demand. But we talked about TikTok last time, and I started telling. They said, "Who is this Aviva? She's very interesting." And I said, "Well, she's many things, but one thing that she's also, other than being the most rated, highest rated TikTok star on commercial real estate expert on TikTok, she's also a Forbes contributing editor for real estate, and she just wrote about NFTs. And a lot of our CRE pros they're either starting out in the industry, they want to get ahead in the industry, they want to move forward quickly, and they want to know, okay, if I don't have 40 years to do this, I'm just getting in today, I need to start making some money on this. How do I do that?" And one of the things that I love in your article was that, look, you have the opportunity in a point of flux and a point of disrupt in order to take advantage of your ability to and your conviction to work hard and adopt to a new technology, because some of the older generation that is really prominent in the ownership and brokerage of real estate, they are either unwilling, unable, just don't want to pick up a new technology because, as you said, some of it might be speculative, and I don't believe it is. I don't think you believe it is, but it's also something new you need to learn. And so can you give us a quick snapshot of your experience with NFTs and real estate? And we'll get further into how our audience here can learn from you and adapt. But yeah, tell us a little bit more. How can you explain, maybe just to start off the baseline? Because I know I'm fairly new at this, though I follow Gary Vee. Can you explain to us what an NFT is and why it's important to commercial real estate?
Sure. So an NFT is a non-fungible token. It's essentially a digital asset that has individual ownership that you keep in your pocket. And this asset is connected to a smart contract that can have just about anything written in it. And as a result, it has created a new economy and a new avenue for marketing for companies that has been just catapulted into a billion-dollar industry. The reason being, as a society, we are moving so far into the digital world that it makes a lot of sense that we would hold digital assets, be it as collector's items or use case items. And
well, in your experience, what has kept a lot of those terms I'm fairly unfamiliar with. I have to be very, very honest at this point. Digital asset and wallet. Maybe you didn't mention wallets, but it's not physically in your pocket. It's, there's a lot of the reason that, for example, the reason that title policy exists, or a title company exists, is to make sure that what you're buying is actually owned by the person you're buying it from, and to make sure that there's no encumbrances on it, make sure that there's really the ownership can be transferred and so on. So that makes people, that's like an assurance, right? You're buying some insurance essentially that what you're buying is what it is. And the difference in that between real estate, I know that stocks are kind of like a hybrid between this, but the difference in my mind is that I can go touch and taste and feel. Hopefully, you're not tasting your real estate, but maybe I can go and put my hand on that real estate. And does it is that maybe one of the things that's preventing people from really getting comfortable with buying and selling real estate in the form of digital currency or digital representation like an NFT?
Sure. So the larger theme about NFTs, or not about NFT, but the larger theme with NFTs is blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Blockchain technology is essentially an immutable ledger. It's a ledger that you can't really change, that essentially just tracks all the transactions. So, like you're saying, with a title company that would verify ownership, I think title companies are on their way out because the blockchain is just going to completely destroy them. I was on the phone with one of my title guys a week or so ago, and I said, Charles, are you
Okay?
are you afraid of blockchain and NFTs? And his response was, "Oh, I haven't really looked into it," which is exactly his issue and exactly the entire industry's issue. You know, the funny thing about commercial real estate is it has barely broken into Web 2. And now Web 3 is exploding, and being that commercial real estate is so slow to adapt, the opportunity then to excel in the Web 3 space is really just overwhelming at this point.
Can you explain to me what the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is?
Yeah,
Just so I understand.
sure. Web 2 is
I gotta get my head the same size as yours. I don't have a tiny head. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, and why is real estate just getting into Web 2 and, rapidly approaching Web 3?
So Web 2 is social media, essentially.
Okay.
And commercial real estate has been so slow to adapt to social media just because the decision makers, the folks with the marketing budgets, and then everybody underneath them have been able to do deals without social media and are in complete denial that is a use case for our
Okay.
industry, which is an incredible edge because those ideals are just not based in reality. Hey, Charles, great to see you. So Web 2, social media; Web 3, blockchain technology.
Okay. If you are, let's play some hypotheticals here. If you're getting into real estate today, if you're getting into brokerage today, if you're maybe in your first 1 to 4 years, maybe coming from residential, all of the above, how do you provide this value to your company today and make it not seem, or a company or clients or whoever you're representing? How do you make them, get them comfortable with it and present it as not a speculative technology? Or, I think you and I tend to be early movers in a lot of things. Your example of TikTok, for example, right? You started moving early on that, and I've talked to about a dozen people this week since I pressed hard because of you, because you've inspired me to get 1,000 followers so I could start going live. So kudos, thank you. But yeah, you pressed me in that, and I started telling people, hey, this is something. And I remember having this conversation with you prior to us getting on our last, and I was like, isn't TikTok just for like dance videos? And you're like, yeah, that's where you're wrong. And not just where you're wrong, but like that's the misconception, which is great because early movers like Aviva, who is already filming her awesome kitten, the one-eyed kitten. I love your one-eyed kitten. Filming your kitten, and you're like, your friend said, you should be doing real estate videos because there's the competition on kitten videos is tough. the competition on commercial real estate videos and knowledge about commercial real estate on TikTok is not as difficult. You can become a thought leader really early. So in 2020, I believe you started pressing out videos, and now you've got like 9 zillion followers and all the people that are on today. But because you did that, because you adapted early and you saw the change early, and you said, I know it might be for kitten videos and dance moves, but I'm going to make it for commercial real estate. How do you pivot or not pivot, present to your client customer that this is an opportunity to strike while the iron is hot, and not something that you're going to not fumble, but like, you're using their transaction, their real estate, their syndication, their project, or whatever you're trying to put into an NFT or a digital asset. How do you convince them of that, or how do you assure them that it's not a speculative thing?
Sure. Well, I would separate NFTs and ownership with social media, right? So with, hey Emma, welcome to the party. When it comes to convincing old school commercial real estate owners, brokers, managers, etc., the proof is just in the results. Like, I could lease a property with one picture on Instagram. Granted, it's a warehouse and everybody needs a warehouse. I don't even need to make a brochure, and I can find you a great tenant with one picture on Instagram. So if that can happen and there's no vacancy and we can move product faster than anybody else, the proof is in the pudding. And the same goes for sales of property. It's niche, right? However, the whole game is attention in sales, right? And in our industry, in most industries. And if you can put the right information where the eyes are, you're going to get results.
So here's let me ask you this. I've been doing research because I wanted to sound semi-educated around you, even though you're massive brain. But there was I wanted to know when the first NFT was created from a real estate transaction. So that's the concept, right? Is that it is upon the transaction occurring, it now becomes a digital asset that can be traded, correct? On an exchange somewhere. Can you tell just real briefly what exchanges are out there that are ones that you like or that are common to trade NFTs?
Sure. Okay.
For real estate or anything, I guess.
Okay, sure. And I will get there, but I want to clarify something.
Oh.
Transacting real estate on the blockchain or with NFTs, it's not a linear transaction, right? It's not just
Right.
like you do this, you do that, and it's done. The amazing thing about NFTs and blockchain technology is that there's literally no rules, no confines to the rules, and we're so early. We have no idea what will happen and how we will transact and use NFTs in real estate. So it's not like so yes, you could buy an NFT that was linked to a property and transfer it to your wallet. However, there's going to be so many more use cases. Now, for wallet platforms, there's a lot of different ways to create NFTs, collect NFTs, and then transact NFTs. The elephant in the room it's not really an elephant in the room. There's a website called OpenSea.io. It's just the leading wallet in the industry. It's fine. There's a lot of competitors coming up. This is a market up for grabs for sure. OpenSea.
I'll put it in the comments, but OpenSea.io.
Yes.
Okay.
OpenSea had it definitely has its flaws. It had for lack of better terms, like a terrorist attack like 2 weeks ago that stole like millions of ETH, millions of dollars in ETH. So there is market share. My wallet of choice is, I prefer this wallet called Rainbow that essentially holds my assets, and I prefer Rainbow, but there's MetaMask and it's pretty complicated, but there's a lot of resources.
I feel I may have a story that's very relatable to a lot of our viewers today. And 2013, I'm sure you remember it. Well, you're very young at this point. 2013, you could get a Bitcoin for just about anything, right? Like they were giving them away. Many people stored them in Mount Gox. All of a sudden, Mount Gox gets broken into. All the Bitcoin go away. But oh well, I didn't know how to use them anyways. Fast forward another 5 years or something, and my brother came to me. My brother is like you, is in Denver. He's a real estate guy. Props Sebastian Rasinger. And he came to me and said, "Hey, if you can figure out how to buy a Bitcoin, I'll go half on one with you." And at the time, it was like $2,000 or something. It seemed like a lot of money for something that I just like threw away before. And I like a lot of people, I was like, oh, I could go through all my computers in the past, and maybe they're on there somewhere, but I just couldn't figure it out, or I'd thrown them away or something. So I bought Bitcoin, and then it's just started like going up after that, and it got pretty high. I don't know, maybe $10,000 by the time it was 2020 or 2019, whatever it tipped over. And when it started to tip over, I was like, I don't believe as much in Bitcoin as I do in Ethereum. I like the idea and the concept that what I am purchasing can be used to create more things, not just hold money somewhere. So I really started going long in Ethereum when everybody else was creating these coins, and not creating tokenizing things, right? Like transportation. And it just seemed to be like a pretty big scam outside of Ethereum in my perception. And I held on to the Ethereum, and it's kind of done this. And then since then, Bitcoin just went to the moon, right? Up to 70 grand. And now it's down to maybe 45. It's still, tough for my dad, for example, to understand the concept of these things. And that's where I think that we as kind of early movers can say, hey, let me learn about this. What's Gary's V thing is 36 hours of NFT or some amount of time, sort of like the 10,000 hours of Malcolm Gladwell. This is like you can be an expert in it in like 36 hours, or if you just like dedicate yourself to it for a few weeks, you can become the most knowledgeable person on NFTs, blockchain, whatever, really. And so through that, I'm thinking, if I can do the same thing, and I'm by no means doing well in Ethereum. I don't want to say that I'm any sort of crypto punk or crypto cool guy or whatever they call themselves. But I do know that if you spend a little bit of time and you apply it to something that you really enjoy, like commercial real estate, and you see that there's an arbitrage between the time that it takes to do something, the blockchain in general, or digitalizing a process, or streamlining a process, just seems to make sense for everybody. If we can get in kind of early into it, I I had one of my partners on the other day, Mark, and he is a good old cowboy. I mean, he's a real cowboy, and comes from Texas. He's Texas bred and born, and he is a man of his word, and that's why people do business with him, and that's why I like doing business with him. But there's a lot of I don't know, sketchy players in our industry, let's say, or there's a lot of opportunity, I think, to manipulate somebody by saying one thing and doing another. And that's why I like this whole thing. It's trust but verify. Like, I trust Mark, but if I had the ability to put that same trust along with the handshake into a standardized process that is in the ledger, trackable, and I can reference back and say, no, 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 this is the way that it happened, versus, oh, you told me it was going to happen, or you really assured me, but okay, then put it down, and let's put it out there for the not public, but let's put it out there on the ledger so that it can be referenced later. That seems to be, in my mind, where this process can really help uh, streamline, I guess, something like title, or just the entire real estate process, to make it more orderly, but also more recorded, or recordable. Can you, Aviva? And I apologize, I went on that for a long time, but that's the reference that I have of what Ethereum is, what blockchain is, and what Bitcoin is. Something that I threw away or that disappeared with Mount Gox, all the way to today, where I'm like really interested in NFTs and its application to real estate. If you would, um, Can you tell us a little bit more about if you don't have to, if you don't want to, but your project that you're working on now in terms of applying NFTs and the blockchain to a transaction? Not a transaction, a deal that you are doing.
Yes, but I want to take what you said and build something off of it in terms of.
Correct it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just want to establish a reality of commercial real estate and just business in general. I find in my deals more often than not, and I was having this conversation with the client yesterday, that the numbers are wrong. The numbers, as a buyer or a buyer's agent, why is it that more times than not, the numbers ownership provides us are wrong? And I was talking to my client yesterday, and he said this was his first commercial transaction. He said, "Is this normal?" And I said, "Not only is it normal, but it's more usual to have people lie in in commercial real estate transactions." Now, that is not just commercial real estate. That is any business, right? Do your own due diligence, do your own research. You cannot rely on the information provided from others. But like you're saying, if there was a method to just keep truth, or like something as simple as operating expenses. I want to know the operating expenses on this property. I want to know the true operating expenses on this property. Imagine if they were written on an immutable ledger that was correct. How much, or that was verifiable or unchangeable. How much I'm working on a deal right now that the numbers are all a lie, and we can't underwrite it because it doesn't make any sense. So there's
Yeah.
4 adults scratching our heads because just the other side can't tell the truth. And that is such a waste of time. And it happens all the time in deals.
The way that I think about this, and just I'm sure our audience knows what a ledger is, right? It's where it's a recorded event. The way I think about this is when my mother, when I was a kid, used to go to the bank and like write a check or like balance the checkbook, and there was obviously no internet, and so we would go in and she'd say, "Okay, how much money do I have today? Great, I'll take this much out or deposit this much," and that's a way to verify. At some point, she's saying, "Well, I'll just go onto my app on my phone," and I'm like, "Where did this come from?" Like, we used to have to go stand in line at the bank. It was like a highlight of my day because I got the sucker, the lollipop when I went in line. It was whatever. It was just something you did. And at some point, she's like, I can just log onto my phone. I've got the new app here, and I'm like, "Where did you go? How did that expedite that trust factor?" And she's like, "Yeah, but it's all right there. Why would I want to go to a bank to see the exact same thing?" And
Right.
that's, I think, where this is going, which is it's not commonplace today, but at some point, my mom is going to say, "Yeah, I just saw I'm following my real estate transaction on the NFT exchange. I can see right here where," and I'm like, "Where did that come from? Like, we were used to stand in line at the bank to figure out how much money you had in the account, and now you're reading the transaction or reading the ledger of a real estate transaction. You're on, where did this come from?" But it comes to a standardization, and that's one of the things I think you really help doing when you write an article like you did in Forbes. I don't know if it's this article or if this is one, but this is the only one I had. So when you write that article and start to explain where the application is of NFTs to a real estate transaction,
Sure.
what are the actionable items that somebody who is starting out in real estate today, or that is maybe they're really hungry, right? They want to provide value to their clients or their company. How do they take action today?
So the way that you take action today in Web3 is the same way you would take action today in commercial real estate in general, or real estate in general. And that is just by jumping in feet first, educating yourself, and then transacting. So a way that I started learning about NFTs, understanding NFTs, was buying them, right? I I didn't. When I went to high school and college, I spent more time in the parking lot ditching class. I'm not going to learn. This is stuff you can't learn in a classroom. You need to pick up your phone and do it. You
Okay.
can buy NFTs for nothing, right? However, going into the transaction, you don't know that there's going to be gas fees. What are gas fees? This is how you learn how to transact NFTs, is literally by doing it, which is the same way you learn commercial real estate. I want to address Ben saying that NFTs are a Ponzi scheme with no good use.
Well, I think I want to put this up there because you just proved that it's possible to learn without it. I mean, if it costs relatively nothing, and if you could explain what a gas fee is, because I don't know what that is. Uh, if you can do it for relatively nothing, it's like getting the Bitcoin and putting it in Mount Gox a long time ago. And the downside of it is minimal, but it can get really steep if you're, doing it with a piece of art or real estate. Or so it sounds like the easiest way is to start off small. But what would your response to Ben's point here be in terms of in terms of a Ponzi scheme? Because I know that fear is out there.
My what I have to say about Ben saying that NFTs are a Ponzi scheme, definitely keep spreading that misinformation. It does nothing but help people like me. So keep hammering it away. It's like the people who say that commercial real estate is dying. Keep spreading that misinformation. It does nothing but helps my numbers.
That can't be. Why would that? Why would that be, Aviva? Like, I get it. Understand why it would be that way in commercial real estate. You're saying, oh, great, people thinking it's dying, they're going to sell it at a discount. But I think the education is key here with an NFT, that we have to make it more normalized to say it's not a Ponzi scheme, or it is, or whatever, or uncover it the way that it is. But it seems that anything that is not the actual physical thing you have in your hand could be a Ponzi scheme. Right? Real estate could be a Ponzi scheme. Whoever's holding on to the bag last, that person now owns an overpriced piece of real estate. Is that a Ponzi scheme? I mean, you did convince somebody to buy something that it really wasn't worth, or the market changed or something like that. So how do what do you think in terms of dispelling this myth or validating it?
Sure. In every market, there are Ponzi schemes. I want to start off with that. I grew up with a family, and these kids would fly. They had never flown commercial airline. Well, big Gucci family lifestyle. Well, as we get older, as we're starting to hit high school, college, turns out it was all a Ponzi scheme. The whole family was running a, huge local Ponzi scheme. And when it all got figured out, dad went to jail and they started flying commercial, for lack of better terms. So you can find there are bad apples in absolutely any industry, point blank. Bad apples in intangible assets, right? In real estate.
Yeah.
Or bad apples in NFTs. However, when it comes to NFTs do nothing but two things for a company. They create economy and they add marketing value. So I have something that is helping my marketing and bringing me more money. Why in the world would I not lean into that? And massive brands are. It's already done. Pepsi done. Budweiser done. MLB. All these people, these NFTs already exist. There's an economy for them, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So that's why I welcome people to say it's a Ponzi scheme with no good use, because
I think you
like I said,
proved the point there actually in underlying current, which is and I like the airplane, the private to commercial, because look, both you and I share a very similar background. Our fathers are brokers. We grew up in real estate, under commercial real estate, and we've seen the highs and the lows. Right, we've seen the lows where people go to jail when Bernie Madoff gets discovered, and they say, well, where are all these transactions? He said, well, and I made them all up, or they didn't really happen. Well, if you have a public ledger, right, you can like go back, you can actually see where these things are, versus it's somebody telling you that they have great beachfront property and ends up being a marsh, right? So you actually have a legitimate way to prove the different steps have happened in the ownership of something. So I think you've dispelled that there. I've got the next one for you here, Aviva.
Sure.
Another Ben. Thanks, Ben's. And by the way, it's AMA. Ask me anything. So we've got some good Emma's. We got a question from Emma coming up here. She's one of our favorites. So yeah, ask any questions. I'll drop them on the screen here and test Viva here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I have to tell you, the first answer to this question that came to mind was a little frisky. I'm going to say it anyway. So how do you anticipate future government regulations on capital gains, buying and selling crypto? By bending over and taking it, because that is the reality of gains and taxes. This is it. Look, I would much rather pay higher taxes.
Soundbite.
I would much rather pay taxes because that just means there's more income.
Yeah.
We can't control the government regulation of any asset, right? People are freaking out right now about real estate and how the laws are going to change. I literally was meeting a client 2 days ago at a warehouse. I said, "How are you doing today?" And he said, I'm good, but besides one thing." And I said, "Okay, what's that?" And he said, "Joe Biden." And my partner turned to him. He said, "Don't worry. He's not going to change the real estate tax rules this year." It was all about tax,
Sure. No, I hear you.
Anyway, I'm not trying to be political one way or the next, but the reality is government regulations can happen on any asset. So, and you need to stay within the confines of the law.
We had both. I'll let you get into the second half here, but you and I had both commented on Hunter Thompson's cash flow connections, where he had our friend Michael Flight on this last week. Michael Flight has libertycoin.io, which is tokenization of real estate, the ability to transfer that real estate, and it now becomes it becomes a transferable item. And in a ledger. It's run by both Michael Flight and our friend Adam Carswell from Next Level Mastermind. But what their point is in particular is it's very difficult for accredited investors or people that are not accredited investors or that are abroad or that to actually get into some of these syndication deals, to do a 506B or even a 506C. And when they start, when you want to access those markets, if you're not an accredited investor, you don't have a CPA that writes you a letter to say that you can do it, or you don't have the assets that to back it up outside of your primary residence, you were really locked out a lot of the market. What they're doing is tokenizing a piece of real estate, and they're making it available, sort of like a fund rise, but now it's actually the ability to create a coin from that, and now makes it a little bit more exclusive, I would think, or vendable, tradable, right, between people. So you can get into real estate deals, you can participate in them without being an accredited investor after 1 year period, because the SEC require, I believe, I'm not, again, not an attorney and I'm not an accountant, but it allows you to, after a year, once you've passed all the checkpoints, then you're able to actually create a token from that, and then from there, it can be bought and sold on these exchanges, right? And so, like Liberty Fund. So that it's really democratizing some of the deals that were previously unavailable. And if you don't want to get into he's our friend, but if you don't want to get into a Grant Cardone deal that you're unsure of, make sure you're educated and understand what else is out there, what else is available. Not just the guy that's yelling at you on Instagram, but maybe a deal that's sound that they're able to vet and look through and understand first. So what's the second part here? If you buy or sell, or if you buy Ethereum, Bitcoin at $2,000, sell at $10,000, trade for real estate, gold or real estate, then what are the tax implications? Should you set aside percentages?
Sure. So actually, crypto is in the same category via the IRS as real property. So long-term gain, short-term gain. If you buy Ethereum and Bitcoin at 2K and sell at 10K, how long have you been holding it? If it's a short-term gain, then it's whatever real estate is, 40%, round numbers. If you hold it for long-term, 15%, right? Or whatever.
Yeah. It depends. Yeah, it's whatever long-term capital gains taxation is.
Yeah. crypto is categorized in the same way as property. And
Okay.
so you should definitely be setting aside percentages, because the exchanges that you are transacting on will be reporting back all of your numbers to the IRS. The IRS, although they're very, very backed up because of the pandemic, they have streamlined a new, we'll say, wing to just completely address blockchain, because
Sure.
they realize, because there's so much money circulating in it, and the IRS is tied in very tightly with those exchanges that are Coinbase, are Robinhood, are Crypto.com. So whip out your wallet and start paying taxes on all your gains.
All right, I got one here from Emma, a friend of ours. So how much of the infrastructure is set up that's accessible to brokerage, for example, to use the ledger for net operating incomes, profit and loss statements, and value? Do the exchanges hold that sort of information?
Sure. I love that you brought up P&Ls and NOIs.
Emma's smart. I know.
Hey, Emma, let's connect.
CRE Pro, Emma.
Hey. So that's the cool thing about minting an NFT, is you could literally mint all you, and by minting, all it is you just literally upload the picture to one OpenSea or Rarible. You could upload a P&L to OpenSea and Rarible, and say you own a property in a partnership, and a new structure is uploading the P&L at the end of the week or month to a wallet so that all the partners could see what's going on. You can mint anything, essentially, is where I'm going with that. And so, sorry, I'm sick. I'm having a cough attack.
You're on the grind. I love it. Yeah, I know you work. I know you're working hard to get these deals done, and you're in a bunch of very fun deals. I think that's what we both love about commercial real estate, is it's an adventure, right? Every day, I know this is coy to say and probably trite at this point, but every day is something new. And it really is. I find it prioritization of between the things that I enjoy working on and the new deals, and like the, race car tracks of learning how to learning what's new in the retail industry, what's happening in crypto, and staying on top of it. And then at the same time doing the tough work sometimes of actually cold calling, reaching out. And I know that we say that's sort of an art form that of the past, but realistically, what you were saying makes a lot of sense. If you now use your article or your motivation for the NFT, and somebody says, yeah, this is something I might be interested in, they're going to do their research, but ultimately they're going to say, hey, Aviva, can you give me a call and just talk me through this, because I think I'm interested, but I don't really know. So what is a good way to get in touch with you if they want to do that? I mean, do you do that? Is that something you would be open to taking some calls or some inquiries from our crew here, from our amazing CRE pros?
Of course, I love to
Okay.
chat. TikTok at the real estate source, not the TikTok at real estate source. What's up? I answer all your DMs. Real estate source _ on Instagram. Answer your DMs there. LinkedIn, Aviva Sonenreich. Yeah, there's lots of ways to contact me. I'm always happy to chat. Commercial real estate, blockchain, and other things. So yeah, love to chat.
We haven't Ben and Ben are doing a great job. Emma, always awesome, but I got another one here. If you trade NFTs or crypto for real estate, then it becomes a taxable event. The IRS does not take Bitcoin. My accountant is clueless. I hope he's not watching this. How do you guide the client that wants to do this, and who do you call to help? I've run into issues across this, but it sounds like it's coming. Let's talk tax implications for our clients.
Sure.
You feel this if you like. I don't feel that I'm qualified to do so. So
look, no. This is so funny. I went into my accountant's office in 2020, I went in 2020, and I said to the lady, I looked at her, I said, all right, so do you know what to do with crypto? I got crypto and I need to figure out what to do with it and my tax implications. And she looked at me and she said, Nobody has ever said that to me. And I stopped dead in my tracks and I was like, holy smokes, I need to find somebody who knows what's going on.
Yes, that was my point right there. My answer to Ben was find a new accountant. Like, what are you operating in the 1980s, man? Come on. Like, if it's not working for you, and everybody who is an accountant that's on, because we have a lot of accountants that are CRE pros, what a better way to start your career, grow your business than to jump on something that is, first of all, absolutely going to happen, and second of all, people are fairly clueless about. So you could be the expert in 36 hours. You could be the expert on NFTs. Sorry.
100%.
So you said you better jump on this, right? This is 2 years ago when you were saying this for your accountant.
Yeah, I was just like, so then hit YouTube Academy, start educating myself. And 2020 was definitely a year of like figure out how much you made and like try your best to pay the gains. 2021 has gotten a lot more sophisticated. And when I went into my accountant's office, the same lady in 2021, I said, okay, am I the only person still holding crypto or what's the deal here? And she said, no, I'm getting a lot more inquiries about it. Everybody is trying to figure out how to not pay taxes on it. And I said, good. Glad you figured that out because we need to talk now about NFTs. And she said, nobody's ever talked to me about that one. So it's funny. It's a lot of do your own research and or find an accountant who knows what they're talking about.
So here's a question for our audience, and we've got a lot of great smart people in here. And this is a on the fly question for you, Aviva, and our crew. If you were to, as you know, the CRE Pro course was created because somebody said, I have a need. We need to learn what it's like to be a commercial real estate broker. I've taken the finance classes. I've got an MBA, or I've just got out of college, or I'm a a residential real estate agent, and I'd like to learn how to get into commercial. How do I become a broker? What does a broker do? What do you, outside of what I can learn on the internet, in the CCIM books and the other courses, what do you actually do all day? What is effective for you? And how do you leverage things like LinkedIn in order to grow your business? So that's where the course came from. And we provided what people wanted. So now now there's a new want here. We've got people that are saying right here, right now, saying, I would like to learn what an NFT application to the real estate market means. Is this a course for our crew? Is this a course that you would like to be taught? And if so, what would you like to see in it? Ben is coming up with some great questions here. And I think one of the things is to bring on one section as a CPA to tell us all the tax implications. One of those sections would be legal, right? Legal ramifications and the ability. What do you think? Would you be interested in seeing Aviva do something like that? And Aviva, would you be interested in talking about and finding out more about who would be interested in a commercial real estate course for NFTs and the blockchain?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
I kept it a little coy about the projects I'm working on right now, but I am working on two commercial real estate focused NFT projects. One in a development in the development category, and then one in a commemorative sale category.
I didn't blow your cover there earlier. I didn't press you hard enough to reveal your project, which you still won't tell me about. But here would be an idea. Here's an example, right? If you wanted to create an NFT from from real estate, and you were to enter this course and go through with Aviva the step-by-step process that she is doing right now. She has her own little spin on it, which she will not tell me about yet. But maybe she reveals it in the course. Maybe we can get it out of her in the course of what she's doing, and you can ride along with her as she's doing this until we hit the NFT. Is it a launch? You call it an NFT launch? It's an event.
Yeah, a
What is
drop.
it?
They
A
call
drop. A drop. Did you just coin that term, an NFT drop?
No, everybody
No?
says that.
You always call me out on this stuff like I know it, and you're like, no, dude, that's a very commonly used term amongst Gary Vee and all of his zillions of fans. No, okay. Well, so look, Aviva, we're coming to the end of our time here, and Aviva is available TikTok live for everybody. Please reach out. Ben Beatty had a lot of good questions loaded up here, so I want to make sure that he gets in contact with you. Can you tell us the way that we can find you outside of TikTok Live? You run a brokerage, correct?
Yes.
You're a young gun in Denver. You're out there crushing the market in warehouse and light industrial, and just moving massive mountains out there in Denver. See, mountains, Denver. You got it. I'm a Denver guy, so I have those jokes preloaded. No, bad joke. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us what people should be reaching out to you outside of an NFT and the new CRE Pro course coming soon for NFT real estate development.
Sure. You can always email me at aviva@warehousehotline.com. If you have a question about a warehouse, I love to answer them. I'm very, very passionate about warehousing. But yeah, just working on moving a bunch of property throughout the Denver metro area, trying to make a deal somewhere. And very, very fortunate to be able to do so. So,
all right. So I learned this question, or I learned this on a podcast last night, and I want to use it because I think it's a very great question I've asked in the past, and I would love to learn more about you outside of the great knowledge you've dispelled today. So what is one thing about Aviva Sonenreich that you wish more people knew?
that my superpower is not caring what anybody thinks about me, and it helps my business tenfold.
Well, I care about you. Our fans care about you. Your TikTok Live fans care about you. So just know that you are loved, and we really love having you on the show. We look forward to future episodes and the coming soon of Aviva Sonenreich and the NFT application to commercial real estate. The one thing at the very end, and I'm going to take this from your, again, I'm promoting heavily on Forbes. I'm hoping they're going to help me get a column as well, is your parting piece of advice in the column, your article, and I'll put that in the show notes as well, is get buying, right? Take action. So as you said, and as Ben was talking about earlier, like you're right. There is a chance, there is a risk factor here, always being an early mover. And I think we're kind of out of the early mover stage, and we're sort of moving into the becoming a trend, becoming a more mainstream, and then does it stay past there? Very similar to what you did with TikTok, right? To, like, as it's on its way up, catch it on the upswing, but with very minimal exposure and loss. So get out there, learn about NFTs, learn about the blockchain to the extent that you feel fairly comfortable with what they are, what it is, and then just do it, right? Just the same sort of thing as Bitcoin in the early days, and pick up a few if it's or do your first NFT through the course that Aviva is going to be teaching, or buy your first NFT at a very minimal risk exposure. I don't know that you answered this, or if I missed it, can you tell me again what the cost of gas fueling? What did you say it was? The gas charge that I can anticipate, or that I should be warning people about, or other things that because my advice here, which is your advice, which is in your column, which is buy now, get on it, let's do it for a minimal loss factor before you do the big one. Try a few small ones. What can people watch out for? What is your words of advice before you open up too much risk exposure?
When you're buying on the Ethereum blockchain, which you probably will start buying on the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
When you go to close a transaction, there is a gas fee. It's Ethereum gas. Ethereum gas, much like the oil that we pump into our cars, is based on demand in that moment. So the more people buying NFTs, the higher the gas fee will be. So it's really advantageous to buy NFTs in the middle of the night or on the weekends when less people are buying. The metric is called GWEI, GWEI. I have a GWEI meter on my computer at all times, so I know when gas is the lowest. So it's the best time to strike when buying NFTs.
That's pretty cool. A GWEI meter. I learn something new every time we talk, Aviva. I'm gonna get a GWEI meter on my computers so I know what the price of e-gas is. I mean, these things I just didn't, never think that I would be learning. But again, I think it's fun. I know you think it's fun. And it's also one of these things that I don't see going away. I also see it as a hurdle for a lot of people like my father's age and your father's age that are just like, I don't want to do it, but I would gladly pay for an Aviva or a Zach or a CRE Pro to learn about it, find out, test it out. Is it something that we can offer that's going to make us unique, differentiate us? Again, increase our marketing. Like you said, it increases your reach. It also shows that you're a forward-thinking company. And those are the kind of businesses that I want to do business with. Those that are willing to present the risk factors, let me make a decision for myself whether I'm willing to expose myself to that risk factor for a larger return, or do I want to play it safe and old school it? And I could do it on pencil and paper still too, I guess. But why? Why not embrace the future? Why not try it, as Aviva says, and get to buying? I think is the get to buying is your quote in Forbes. So I like that. Get to buying. Aviva, super good to have you on here. Thank you very much to all you, your TikTok fans. I know you're massive on TikTok, and so I really appreciate you coming on and inspiring me to embrace the future and embrace a new technology. And I look forward to everybody. Just know that this is on LinkedIn Live. If you post this, it will push up in the feed for everybody else. It's just the algorithm. That would really help us. But secondly, leave some comments. We always respond to every comment. I will, Aviva and I engage with every person, Ben and Emma, everybody during the show or on the rewind. If you have a question, reach out so that everybody else can see what your question is. Like Ben came up with some really fire questions today. So yeah, if you have more questions, drop them in the comments. We respond to all of those. And we look forward to seeing you on the next CRE Pro Coffee with CRE Closers. Anything you want to do to drop the mic here, Aviva? I always give you the last word, kind of like Hot Ones.
Sure.
The last dab.
We should do a Hot Ones episode.
Ooh, come on, let's go.
Thank you for having me on. I'm really proud of what you're doing on TikTok. You're moving. You're doing, you're not the only person I've had a conversation with recently in our space who has been asking me about TikTok, but you are the only person who we had that conversation, then you immediately got to work. And that is the difference between
I'm obsessive compulsive. Like I can't, you tell me about something and I'm gonna get excited about it and nothing else I just tractor beam in on it. And I know that you do the same. And this was one of those things you said, Zach, tractor beam now. And I was like, all right, I got to do it. And so if my friends are tired of me hearing me like, I'm at 873 followers now. It's really building up now. And they're like, dude, shut up about TikTok. And I'm like, I'm never shutting up about TikTok.
Hey, just like I said, whatever you want to do, just get to work.